I'm on a boat. I'm on a boat. Take a good hard look at me because I'm on a boat. That's not right. Hello, I'm welcome to Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, the podcast for Matt and Todd. Go see a movie at our local Regal Cinema, and then we talk about it afterwards. In the cold, in the rain, that could be freezing. Also getting lyrics to songs wrong, and all that kind of stuff. And then we try to answer your questions. Should you see this movie? Should you wait? Should you stream it? Should you not care of it? We hope to answer all of those. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and we are smack dab in the middle of some kind of ice storm right now.
Yep, it just started full-blown freezing rain.
Yeah, it's great. Just what we like to have after a movie.
Yeah.
Some good old freezing rain. Well, we did see a movie tonight called Death on the Nile.
Yes.
Right? That's the name of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
The next movie in the Hercule Poirot saga.
Yes. The first one being Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, we watched this, and there's some people in it, some famous folks. Kenneth Branagh is in this movie as the main character, actually.
Yes.
As well as directing the movie and producing the movie.
He also directed Belfast. He's been all over the place. Although I think this year's been this movie's been done for I think a couple of years, and it sat on the shelf for a while.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Not just for COVID, for other controversial reasons, which I will get into later.
Right, I'm sure you will. So there's other people in it too. Gal Gadot is in this movie, as is Russell Brand.
Yep.
And Armie Hammer is in this movie.
Oh, careful! I don't know if we're allowed to talk about him. Oh, but I'm going to.
Oh yeah, you should. I see no reason for you to stop. Who else? Who did I miss?
There's one lady who I recognized. I think her name was Leslie Rose.
Okay.
So, I recognize her from Game of Thrones.
All right.
She was the first love interest of Jon Snow, where the famous line comes from, "You know nothing, Jon Snow." She said that.
Okay.
But as far as everyone else, I'm not sure if I recognized anyone of a high celebrity status that we typically highlight.
Okay.
But I'm going to confirm while you continue talking.
Fine. Well, I will say I don't think there's anyone else of celebrity status in it. But you can correct me, and I'll talk about what happens in this movie, which is there is...
Annette Bening. Did we even
I missed saying her name. I thought of her, but I forgot to say her. Sorry, Annette Bening. I'll owe you
$5.
3 quarters. Because I did think of your name. 75 cents? Yeah.
All right. That's the going rate for getting someone's name wrong?
Well, I didn't.
Someone?
I just forgot her. I didn't get her name wrong.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
If I called her Annette Bening, then I'd owe her $5.
Oh, okay. There's one other person. So I'm calling this person maybe not quite celebrity famous, but she's going to be.
Okay.
She was Shuri in Black Panther and the Avengers movies.
Right.
And soon to be coming back for Black Panther 2.
Right.
So.
And she was the niece of the singer.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. She did look familiar. All right. And what's her name?
Oh boy.
Oh, come on, Todd.
It's hard to pronounce anyway, but let me get there. I'm gonna butcher this. I'm gonna feel real bad. Okay, it's not that bad. Letitia Wright?
I think it's Letitia.
Letitia?
I think that's correct.
Wow. All right.
I think it's right.
I mean, I'm gonna believe you. in my mind, I don't know where the sh sound comes from. Letitia. All right, I'll take it.
Letitia. I think it's
Letitia.
Letitia. I could be wrong.
Letitia.
Right.
For those listening at home, you
Yeah.
can let us know.
Yeah, let us know if we got it
Please
right.
comment. And also, I mean no disrespect for her. If I said it wrong, I owe her $5.
Right. And if I said it wrong, I owe her $5. So someone is owing her $5. Just come on our podcast to claim it. Letitia or Letitia, right. Okay, thank you. And this movie is about a murder on the Nile. Mm-hmm. And our famous detective, say it again, you say it so well, Todd.
Hercule Poirot.
Hercule Poirot. The famous French detective who we get a little backstory about his mustache in this movie.
Yes. I was... Oh, well, I'll talk about that too.
Yes, why he has a mustache. Yeah, so we get introduced to a whole cast of characters. This is your typical Agatha Christie. This is based on another Agatha Christie novel
Of the same name.
of the same name, right?
Yeah.
Just like Murder on the Orient Express.
Correct.
So you've got this whole bunch of interlocking characters who are going to be somehow trapped together, and someone's going to get murdered, and we're going to have to find out what happened. And the only way to do that is with the world's greatest detective, who happens to be on the scene.
Yes.
So, and I'm not talking about Batman. Some people think he's the world's greatest detective. He's not.
I don't know. Hercule Poirot is on top of it.
Yes. All right. So you've got a number of different characters. I'm going to try and name them all.
Good Lord. Good luck.
So you've got the detective himself. You got his friend and his friend's mom. They're both there. His name is Book, and his friend's mom's name is Mrs. Book.
Sure.
I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
We've got a singer and the singer's niece, and they're there. And we've got a lesbian couple who are outed in the course of this movie. Older ladies, and one of them is the aunt of Gal Gadot's character.
Yeah, I was saying I can't even remember her name.
Yeah. You've got Gal Gadot's character, and Armie Hammer is married to her. And there's a former love interest of Armie Hammer's character. And we've got the accountant for Gal Gadot's character.
Yes.
And we've got the doctor, a doctor,
Yes.
specifically associated with Gal Gadot's character.
Previous fiance
Previous fiance.
of Gal Gadot's character.
Right. And,
Well, and yes, it's as awkward as it sounds.
yeah. And we've got the maid servant person of Gal Gadot's character.
Yes. What's her name from Game of Thrones?
Right. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
There's various like crew members of this ship that you don't ever get to see or find out anything about. They're just kind of there.
And they never talk.
No.
So, no, the captain talks once.
Yeah. Someone comes and gets Hercule one time. Like
Right.
She just busts in and is like, Mr. Poirot, and then that's it.
Yeah. So those are the main characters, and several of them end up dead. I'm not going to tell you which ones, but basically a crime is committed. Gal Gadot's character is killed. I'll tell you that much, and that's the big murder that we're trying to solve here. And yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it.
Nice.
I'm going to say that's
Very
what
good
it's
job.
about. And Todd, please tell us your thoughts about Murder on the Nile.
Death on the Nile.
Oh gosh.
That's okay. I really like this movie. I like the first one. And this one was a different experience for me because I've read Murder on the Orient Express, and by read I mean I listened to, but same thing to me. So going into that movie, you know, like I had the knowledge, you know, I knew what was going to happen, kind of. I mean, obviously they changed a couple of things here and there, but I knew the gist of it. Going into this one, I didn't know the gist of it. I hadn't read the book, so I was, you know, I like a good whodunit that's like really sharp and good to me. Like, and I thought this was a very sharp movie. It's very stylistic as far as like cinematography and the sets and the designs. And I thought the acting was very well. I mean, there were people in this movie who I was like, oh, I don't know about that kind of acting or whatever. Like Russell Brand, I was like, what's he really bringing to the table here? But I thought he did a good job. Like, and there's no one who I think does a bad job in this movie. However, we have to talk about Armie Hammer. And not only was it COVID that delayed this movie, it's Armie Hammer and stuff also delayed this movie. And to me, the beginning of the movie, it's very noticeable that they were trying to edit around him. Like, there were scenes where, for long stretches of time, he shot from the back. Like, obviously, there were two cameras going to get both people's reactions during a conversation or whatever.
Right.
And they would just, even though he's talking, he's the focal point, they kept on the person he's talking to. And it just played kind of weird to me, and I'm like, that has to be because they were trying to really, like, there's some scenes in the movie that they could not get him out of, or they could not change the angles and stuff like that. But some of the beginning scenes, I'm convinced, of this movie, that they felt a little wonky to me, and like, okay, well, this character's talking, why am I focusing on this character? Because it's not anything big that they're talking about. Like, you don't need a reaction shot.
Right.
They just were trying to downplay Armie Hammer. Now, if we're to get up into some gossip here, the reason Armie Hammer has, at this point, been blacklisted from Hollywood and a lot of people coming out of
Hollywood Insider, Todd Dover.
From what I heard and have read, he is into cannibalism, which, in this day and age where everyone's getting in trouble for kind of being a crappy human being, but being like a sexist crappy human being, this one seems to come out of left field. A very rich aristocrat family he comes from, and we've got these previous kind of girlfriends and flings coming out and being like, yeah, he's kind of into cannibalism, which is just weird. Like, it's sad, and if anyone was actually hurt during all this mess, I'm sorry that happened. But it's fascinating to me, like, that this is what we're dealing with. Like, that this is happening. So anyway, the fact that he's, like, had all these stories come out about him and stuff like that delayed the movie again, not just because of COVID. And they tried to edit him out where they could. Obviously, they didn't reshoot the movie because I guess they don't have that kind of money. So they just did what they could. Whereas, like, what's that movie that had... there's a movie that came out a couple years ago that had Kevin Spacey in it. And they ended up reshooting almost the entire movie to get him out of it. I can't remember what it's called. So, anyway, I thought that was going to play bigger into things that I found awkward about the movie, but it's only really in the beginning, and then I never truly noticed it again. But maybe I just was so into the movie that I might have missed stuff. So that's Armie Hammer. Take that information how you will and apply it to wherever you feel like you need to. So, back to the movie. Again, I thought this was a good movie. I thought the script was really good. Like, I thought the dialogue in the movie was... Like, I've already said it again, but I'm going to say it again. I've already said it, but dialogue is very sharp in this movie. I thought scenes played very well. Some of them went fast, some of them dragged on, but they were good. Like, because the dialogue was tight, the acting was really good, and honestly, I thought Kenneth Branagh was amazing in this movie. Like, and I think what I really liked about this movie is that it's not just this murder mystery. It's a character study of Hercule Poirot in general. Like, you get to find out more about him. You get to find out why he has a mustache. Like, you get his history. You get why, kind of, like, kind of you get why he is the way he is, and you start to see in the movie is that it's a burden. Like he is, older, and he's feeling a lot of burden now for what he does, and you find out kind of why he is the way he is and all this kind of stuff. And I thought all that was fascinating. I loved every second of getting to know his character more, because Murder on the Orient Express, you're just introduced to him and you're off to the races. There's no backstory except for a couple of lines of people talking about he's the greatest detective ever. This movie, you get some backstory, you get to understand his past, and I was all about it. So, besides the Army Hammer thing and some weird editing here and there, I don't have really anything truly negative to say about this movie. Like, I was engrossed. I was, like I always do for every movie that's a mystery, I'm like pointing out what I think's going to happen and all that kind of stuff. And if you get me doing that for the entire movie, you got yourself a win there of me trying to figure out what's happening. I will say I guessed half of the ending. But I was satisfied and happy with the twisty turns that come. I thought there was a fair amount of twisty turns, and they all played really well. Obviously, we won't talk about them, but I thought they were pretty good. So I had a pleasant experience with this movie, and I enjoyed it. So I think you should see this in theaters if you have the chance. It's a good. If you like a good murder mystery, boom, here you go. If you like just well acted movies and tight dialogue and stuff like that, boom, here you go. Like, totally worth it to me. And I think it should be totally worth it to you to see this in the theaters. So that's where I'm gonna stop it.
And
Matt,
that's where I'm gonna start it.
this is where you begin.
Yes. So I agree with a lot of what you say. I think, we had a nice movie here. It was nice scenery. Got some Egyptian themes and so on and so forth. Got some nice Egyptian, what do you call it? Landmarks.
Landmarks.
That's what I mean. Yes. You got a Sphinx. You got some pyramids and stuff. And
got the weird, I can't remember what it's called. The stuff that's carved into the hill.
Oh, yeah.
Pharaoh sitting or whatever. I don't know.
Right. We'll just call it the stuff that's carved into the hill in this podcast. And, acting, good. Story, good. Twisty turns, good. I think what we have is a good movie. What I don't think we have is like a great movie. To me, I thought that the ending was so when I look at a murder mystery, I want to I like to try and guess along with the movie and see what's going on. The type of ending, which I won't describe too much, but I'll say the type of ending that they employed during the big reveal was a type where you could never really guess what's coming. I mean, you can guess part of it like you did.
True, yeah.
But,
I would agree with that. But I think that's also, if memory serves, that's how the book goes too, where like, you're part of these conversations that Hercule has with people and stuff like that, but you never get to know what's really going on in his mind. Like, there's not a part where he's journaling or whatever, or he's having conversations with himself. Like, and I guess in general, I think that could play pretty weird on the screen. Because I do agree with you. It's pretty abrupt. Because you just never know when he gets there. Like, you never know when he figures it all out. He just kind of starts. And you're like, whoa, okay.
Right. So, to me, that detracts a little bit. It's just a stylistic thing, and it's a preference thing for me, I'm sure. I am a big Gal Gadot fan. I always like to see her pop up in things, so yay about that. And I thought the thing about Hercule Poirot's mustache at the beginning was pretty weird. It was a little strange.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if that stuff's in the book or true. Yeah. It just was like kind of there.
Yeah.
And at first it was like, I guess what I liked about it is that at first it was kind of like it was played kind of like a cheeky thing of like, here's why he has a mustache. And you're like, ha ha ha, okay. And then as the movie develops and you start to learn more about Hercule Poirot's life, it's almost like the mustache takes on a life of its own. And without talking about the ending, I think there's a big change in Hercule that happens that I think is it was a nice journey to see.
Yeah.
In general.
So yeah, I'll say, yeah, if you're looking for a good murder mystery, this is a good one to watch. And if you want to see it in the theater, that's fine with me. I don't think you have to. I'm sure it'll be out on streaming already.
Yeah, sooner rather than later at this point.
Right. Yeah, that's where I'll leave it. Pretty simple. I thought it was good. Not great, but a fine example of a murder mystery.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Matt.
Yes.
How many kites would you give this movie?
Oh.
Which a kite comes into play near the beginning of the movie.
Right.
In a kind of weird scene that you're like, what? And then it's kind of more explained later in the movie. You're like, oh, well, that makes sense now.
Yes.
So, obviously, 5 being the best, because then you got 5 kites, and that seems like maximum fun.
Yeah.
0 kites means life sucks. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Got no kites.
Yeah.
Got no fun. Well, I'm going to say that this is a 3 kite movie. 3 kites out of 5. Like I said, good, not great. But there's a lot of good things about this movie, and I don't think there's really any downside other than the small preference thing that I mentioned.
Sure.
But to really get into that great category, I think you probably would have had to have something more original. I think this felt like, not having read the book, I don't know, but I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt that the book kind of constrained how the story was going to play out a little bit, and I guess I don't feel like it was that great of a story.
Yeah.
Still good, but not great. So, 3 kites from me.
3 kites. So I'm gonna land on a 3.9, and I think what elevates it for me is the performances. Like, I thought, I would say everyone did an okay to good job. But then there was a couple that I thought did really well. Like, I thought Russell Brand did a lot better than I ever gave him credit for. And then Kenneth Branagh, I thought, just hit it out of the park. Like, there are scenes where, like, they're just scenes where he's talking about his past and he gets choked up. And it kind of choked me up, too. Like, I mean, he, really brought powerful performance in this movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to land on a 3.9.
Okay. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed Death on the Nile.
Yeah.
And we gave it 3.45 kites out of 5. 5 being the best, of course. And that's a good rating. So I think we're both on the same page with, watch this movie if you like movies. If you like mystery movies.
Yeah.
If you like Kenneth Branagh.
If you like Gal Gadot, apparently.
Yeah. Is it Gadot?
I thought it was Gadot.
I thought it was Godot.
I mean, I don't know.
Gosh. So much.
We're going to need correction again.
So much
I
pronunciation.
thought I've heard that going on, but I don't know.
You probably have. I probably am a fan who doesn't even know how to say her name. Sorry, Gal.
You're probably a bigger fan than I am, so maybe you know, and I'm the one who's just cast it off like, man, whatever.
Yeah. Well,
one of us owes you $5 if you want to come on the podcast to collect.
Yes.
Man, we're gonna go broke giving out money from well, hopefully none of these people collect.
Well, if they all
it'll
collect.
only be 5 at a time.
Right.
They're gonna just start a group and collect at the same time
right.
just to screw us. Heard you've been talking trash about our names.
It'll be
And I
worth
want
it.
money.
It'll be worth it. All right. Well, yes. So thank you, listeners, for listening to this podcast, clicking download, subscribing to our podcast so you get every episode delivered right to your device as soon as we release it.
Yeah, right to your ear.
Right to your ear. Right to your brain. Yeah. Well, yes. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Da 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 da
Da-da.
da da da.
Da-da-da.